What if I told you that Matthew McConaughey, the guy who says, all right, all right, all right, has been secretly writing prayers to God for decades? The Hollywood heartthrob who partied with the best of them just released a book called Poems and Prayers, and it's nothing like what you'd expect from a movie star. This isn't about fame or fortune. This is about a man's private spiritual journey, his conversations with the universe, and the poetry he's been hiding from the world. Because behind all those rom-com roles and Oscar speeches, Matthew McConaughey has been on a quest to understand God, purpose, and what it means to be truly alive. Stay with me for the next few minutes, and I'll show you the spiritual side of Matthew McConaughey that will completely change how you see this man. This isn't just celebrity content. This is wisdom that could transform your life. If you know Matthew McConaughey, you know him as the laid-back Texas actor who turned Lincoln commercials into memes and gave us unforgettable movie moments. But what you don't know is that he's been keeping spiritual journals for over 30 years. After his best-selling memoir, Greenlights, revealed his philosophy of life, fans thought they knew everything about McConaughey. But Poems and Prayers goes deeper into his soul, his faith, and his relationship with something bigger than himself. This collection of personal poems and prayers isn't just another celebrity book. It's a raw, honest look at how one man navigates doubt, faith, and the search for meaning in a chaotic world. Before I dive into McConaughey's spiritual revelations, I need to ask you something. When was the last time you prayed? Not in church, not because someone told you to, but because you genuinely needed to talk to something bigger than yourself. If it's been a while, drop "It's been too long" in the comments. And smash that like button if you're curious about finding meaning beyond the daily grind, because McConaughey's approach to spirituality might surprise you. Here's what most people don't know about Matthew McConaughey. He's been writing prayers since he was a teenager. Not because he was raised ultra-religious, but because he felt called to have conversations with the universe. Growing up in Texas, McConaughey was exposed to faith, but he never bought into organized religion completely. Instead, he developed his own spiritual practice, part Christian, part philosophy, part Texas wisdom, and completely authentic. In Poems and Prayers, McConaughey writes, "This is a book about belief. I want to sell some belief." But he's not selling you his religion. He's selling you the idea that having faith in something matters, whether that's God, the universe, or just the power of hope. What makes this book fascinating is how McConaughey talks to God. He doesn't use formal prayer language or biblical quotes. He talks to God like a friend, a mentor, sometimes even like someone he's arguing with. One of his prayers literally starts, "Dear God, I'm confused." How refreshing is that? Here's a successful, famous man admitting he doesn't have it all figured out, and he needs guidance just like the rest of us. McConaughey's prayers aren't about asking for success or fame. They're about asking for wisdom, strength, and the ability to stay true to himself. He prays about being a good father, a good husband, and a good human being. But here's where McConaughey's spiritual journey gets really interesting. He doesn't just pray when things are bad. Some of his most powerful prayers are written during his highest moments, when he's grateful, successful, and could easily forget about God entirely. Before I share his most powerful prayer that will give you chills, hit that subscribe button and tell me in the comments, do you think success makes people more spiritual or less spiritual? Because McConaughey's answer might surprise you. Let me read you one of McConaughey's prayers that shows exactly who this man is when nobody's watching. He writes to God about success. "Thank you for the green light moments, but don't let me get too comfortable in the driver's seat. Keep me humble enough to remember that every blessing is borrowed time, and every success is a responsibility to do better." Do you hear that? This is a man who understands that success isn't just about receiving, it's about giving back. He's literally asking God to keep him humble because he knows fame can corrupt. But his most beautiful prayers are about fatherhood. McConaughey prays about wanting to be the dad his kids need, not the dad his ego wants to be. He asks God to help him raise children who are kind, not just successful. One prayer that broke my heart, he writes. Help me love them so well that they never doubt their worth, but not so much that they never learn their strength. That's not celebrity wisdom, that's universal parent wisdom. What makes McConaughey's spirituality so compelling is that it's practical. He doesn't pray for miracles. He prays for courage, patience, and the ability to see beauty in ordinary moments. My favorite line from the book: faith isn't certainty, it's the willingness to be uncertain together. He's basically saying faith isn't about having all the answers, it's about trusting the journey even when you don't know where it leads. Here's what hit me most about this book. McConaughey isn't trying to convert you to anything. He's showing you that spirituality can be personal, practical, and completely your own. In a world where religion often divides people, McConaughey's approach unites. Whether you're Christian, Muslim, Jewish, Buddhist, or just searching, his prayers speak to the universal human experience of wanting to connect with something meaningful. This man is essentially saying, I don't care what you call it, God, universe, higher power, or just hope, but believing in something bigger than yourself will make you a better person. And he's onto something. Studies show that people with spiritual practices, not necessarily religious, but spiritual, have lower anxiety, better relationships, and more resilience during tough times. McConaughey's book isn't just poetry and prayers. It's a blueprint for how to stay grounded in a world that wants to knock you off balance. Before I share the prayer that could change how you see challenges forever, I want you to think about this. When life gets hard, where do you turn? Social media, shopping, Netflix. What if instead you turned inward? Share this video with someone who's searching for something deeper than surface-level happiness. One of the most powerful sections in poems and prayers is called Faith and Doubt. And this is where McConaughey gets real about struggling with belief. He writes, Dear God, some days I believe in you completely. Other days I wonder if you're just the story I tell myself to feel less alone. Both feelings are okay, right? That vulnerability is breathtaking. McConaughey understands that modern faith isn't about blind belief. It's about wrestling with doubt and choosing hope anyway. He's giving us permission to question while we believe. His prayers cover everything modern people struggle with: anxiety about the future, regret about the past, feeling overwhelmed by choices, wondering if we matter in such a big world. But here's his secret weapon: gratitude prayers. Even during his darkest moments, McConaughey writes prayers thanking God for problems because they force him to grow. One prayer says, Thank you for the red lights that taught me patience, the rejections that redirected me, and the failures that made success sweeter. That's next-level spiritual maturity. This is a man who could have let fame go to his head, but instead uses his platform to remind us that success without soul is empty. Money without meaning is misery. Fame without faith is fragile. The genius of McConaughey's spiritual approach is that it's not about perfection, it's about persistence. His famous, just keep living motto isn't just a catchphrase, it's a prayer in action. Throughout the book, he shows us that spirituality isn't about being holy, it's about being human. It's about making mistakes, learning lessons, and keeping faith that tomorrow can be better than today. McConaughey doesn't just pray for himself, he prays for the world. He has prayers for political unity, environmental healing, and human compassion. This isn't just personal spirituality, it's social responsibility. What I love about his approach is that he makes spirituality accessible. You don't need to be religious to benefit from these prayers. You just need to be willing to look beyond yourself and ask better questions. In a time when people are more divided than ever, McConaughey's message is simple. We're all walking each other home. Whether you pray to God, meditate to the universe, or just practice gratitude, what matters is that you practice something. So what can we learn from Matthew McConaughey's spiritual journey? First, faith doesn't require perfection. You can doubt and believe at the same time. You can question and have hope simultaneously. Second, spirituality is personal. McConaughey's relationship with God might not look like yours, and that's okay. What matters is that you cultivate some relationship with meaning, purpose, and something bigger than your daily concerns. Third, prayer isn't just about asking for things. It's about gratitude, reflection, and staying connected to what truly matters. McConaughey's prayers are conversations with wisdom, and we all need more of those. If this resonated with you, share it with someone who's searching for deeper meaning. Comment below with one thing you're grateful for today. Subscribe for more content about finding purpose in a chaotic world. Matthew McConaughey shows us that you don't have to choose between being successful and being spiritual, between being famous and being faithful, between being confident and being humble. Sometimes the most profound wisdom comes from the most unexpected sources. Sometimes the guy who made us laugh in romantic comedies is the same guy who can teach us how to pray. Pick up poems and prayers, not because you need religion, but because you need hope. And in McConaughey's words, just keep living, but live with purpose.